Hi, Coach Ruben here. Over the years, I've been questioned frequently about caffeine and caffeinated beverages and what's the concern? Is it toxic? Can it cause problems? Is a cup or two of coffee a day okay? All kinds of questions. So I thought I'd spend just a few minutes talking about caffeine. So first of all, a little bit about the chemistry of caffeine. What I learned many years ago, I was studying in college I was pre-med, so I was taking a class called organic chemistry. So we had a full year of organic chemistry, and we also had experiments that we needed to do. So one of the days that we had an experiment, what we were learning about were the certain compounds called alkaloids. And there's many different compounds, but two in particular that we were studying that day. And one was nicotine and another was caffeine. So these are both alkaloid compounds and they're very similar in their properties. And in fact, the extraction process for both nicotine and caffeine is exactly the same. So the process is one and the same because they have the same process for being purified. So we had the option that day in the laboratory to either extract and purify nicotine from tobacco leaves or caffeine from tea leaves. So that was our choice. However, before we started to go off to the lab, Dr. Wiley said, a word of warning before we begin the experiment today. If you choose to extract the nicotine from the tobacco, and once you get it to the liquid stage before you make it into a powder, if you are the least bit careless, and one little drop of pure nicotine touches your skin, you will be dead within 5 seconds. It's that toxic. So I raised my hand and I said, what about the caffeine? Because I knew the compounds were very similar and the properties and the reacting sites of the compounds are very close. And Dr. Wiley said, well, it won't quite kill you. Gee, thanks. But it would likely make you very sick. If you were young or old, it could potentially kill you. Whoa. Well, needless to say, we all did the caffeine experiment that day. But I started to understand that caffeine has some dangerous properties to it. It can raise blood pressure, it can put strain on the adrenal glands, it can cause strain in the kidneys, all kinds of different things. There's loads of research on this. Yes, it can help your brain and stimulate you for a short period of time, but a lot of drugs can do that. So the thing is, caffeine has some very nasty properties. In addition, you should also know that both of these compounds are absolutely fabulous pesticides. Yes, it's true. Yes, so you can grind up tobacco leaves and you can put that out in your garden and it will kill all the snails. And same thing with caffeine, all right? It will kill all the bugs. So coffee grounds will do that. You put coffee grounds in the garden and it will kill all the snails. So just in case you didn't know, that's a natural pesticide that you can use in your garden. But it's not so good for human beings. Now we tolerate it. We put it into our body. It affects our brains. So everybody wants that jump. They want that jolt. But there's a price to pay for that. We have extensive research. There's many research studies. I won't go into them all, but I mean, just one in particular that we know that heavy coffee users, 4 cups of coffee a day or longer, prolonged period of time, what we show for, I think it's 10 years or longer, what we show is about a 700% increase risk of kidney failure. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound very promising. So there's so many risks to caffeine. I know for myself, I got addicted to caffeine and sugar. By the way, caffeine and sugar interacts in your brain stronger than cocaine. I'm not saying switch to cocaine, okay? Don't do that. But caffeine and sugar actually interact in your brain and fire up the hippocampus, the reward centers of your brain, stronger than cocaine does. So, and by the way, Coca-Cola, they knew this for a long time. So I got addicted to sodas, in particular Mountain Dew, highest amounts of caffeine and sugar. So I got addicted, and it really started to mess my brain up. It really did. And I finally got off of it, and I had to completely cut it out. It was real important because it's a drug. Okay, so it's a drug. So you have to cut it all the way out. So I did, and now it's quite dramatic because if I even touch caffeine now, my blood vessels in my eyes will start to rupture blood cells and I'll get floaters in my visual field. So it's very, very dramatic. It's very noticeable for me. I get sick as well. All right. So caffeine does a number on my head, it does a number on my intestinal tract. So I can tell you from having been an addict that now I can't touch it. There's just no way. There's no way. So it is a toxic substance. It is. I mean, people consume toxic substances all the time. All right. So I'm not saying that it's not toxic, but there is a price to pay. So I hope that's helpful for you in terms of understanding a little bit more about caffeine. There's a whole lot more. There's a lot of research on it. And you can always just Google negative side effects of caffeine, and you got tons of research studies to look at. There are lots there. So thanks for stopping by. See you next time.